Hi, hello, welcome to the Jet Show. It's True Crime Thursday, True Crime Thursday, True Crime Thursday. It's True Crime Thursday. That means I'm going to be telling you a story based on a true crime story. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. In today's True Crime Thursday story, I'm going to tell you the story called Up in Smoke. In today's story time, I'm going to tell you the story about Bhavani and Kahcee. Bhavani and her family moved to America when she was 12 years old. And so naturally, when you move somewhere new, you're going to meet new people, obviously. So Bhavani met a girl named Kahcee. They were the same age. So Bhavani and Kahcee become really close, and over the years they become even closer. They've become, like really close friends. They tell each other everything. They know each other's deepest, darkest secrets. Their family are friends with each other. Kahcee's parents know Bhavani's parents, and they just became really close. Over the years, Kahcee and Bhavani, they go into high school together. They're in some of the same classes. So one day they were studying at Bhavani's house, as they usually did anyway. They started to realize that it was something deeper going on between them that they didn't understand. And Bhavani's parents were very strict about who she could see and who she couldn't see. And Bhavani was really struggling with her feelings. Kahcee was pretty strong in her feelings, and her family was more progressive. So Bhavani and Kahcee decided to, we're gonna explore whatever this is that we're feeling. And they act on what they were feeling. And they were almost caught because Bhavani's parents came in. And when the parents came in, Bhavani and Kahcee just pretended like they were studying. And Bhavani went home very confused. She didn't know what to do. She knew her parents would not approve. The next day, she avoided Kahcee all day long. She knew that they could not do this. And Kahcee was just encouraging her and trying to tell her, look, we both feel the same way. Why don't we, why don't we just act on how we feel, But Bhavani knew that if she told her parents how she felt about Kahcee, that they would not let her be friends with each other. They could not hang out with each other, and she didn't want to ruin their friendship. So throughout the school year, Bhavani and Kahcee, they just try to act like there's nothing there between them. They try to act like nothing's there. No one suspected anything. And by senior year, Kahcee was just really frustrated with having to hide, what they felt for each other. So they decided this summer before senior year to just be together. They didn't tell anybody, they just kept it on the down low. Now they would just act like best friends. They would act like nothing was going on and no one suspected anything. And also, Bhavani's parents were very strict as well, because Bhavani and Kahcee both wanted to be artists. They loved to draw. And Kahcee got accepted into an art school that was out of state. Bhavani wanted to go too. She told her parents because she wanted to go with her friends. She wanted to be with someone she was familiar with. They said, no, if we're gonna pay for your school, you have to study the major we want you to study, and you have to go to the school that we choose. And this deeply hurt Bhavani because she didn't have enough money to go off to school to be with Kahcee. So Kahcee decides to go to a local school just so she could be with Bhavani. And they were able to sneak around. Kahcee's family knew about them, and they were just very scared that it would get back to Bhavani's parents and they wouldn't pay for her schooling. They kept it under wraps. Only Kahcee's parents knew, and Kahcee's parents and Bhavani's parents were very close. They were very good friends. They try to hide it, and Kahcee again is getting very frustrated with having to hide they have to be careful that they're not seen together, because they live in a town where everybody knows everybody. Everybody hangs out at the same spot. Everybody goes to the same restaurants. So wherever they went, they had to make sure that they were extra careful not for Bhavani's parents to know. So Bhavani was also getting very frustrated. It was her junior year of college. She had one more year of college, studying a major that she did not even want to pursue. Her dad was a doctor, so he naturally wanted her to be a doctor. So she went on with what her dad said, because she knew that they wouldn't pay for her schooling, and she knew she couldn't afford the school without their money. So Bhavani convinces her mom and dad to get her own place, because she was living on the dorm, and Kahcee was still living at home with her parents.
I did really well in school, and she was like, "Dad, this will help me make even better grades."
And she convinced him. So Bhavani had her own place, but of course she had restrictions. Her dad told her, well,
"You can stay there, but I have to have a key. I'm gonna periodically check in on you." So
Dad would periodically check in on her, so she really didn't have all the privacy that she was hoping for. But she did invite Kahcee over a lot, because her parents did not suspect anything, and they knew that Bhavani and Kahcee were friends. So Kahcee was there a lot, but her dad didn't think anything of it. It was closer to Bhavani graduating college. After she graduates and makes her own money, she would finally be able to be free. She would be able to walk in her truth, so she thought. So she graduates college. When she graduated college, she finally found a job, but it was taking her a while to make the money that she wanted, in order to have financial independence from her family. Kahcee at the time, she was not making that much money yet. She graduated art school, but she hadn't found a job yet. It was another year before Bhavani was able to become financially independent from her family. And that's when Kahcee and her finally decided to walk in their truth. And they thought that they would eventually just tell her parents. Well, at this point, Bhavani also had convinced her dad to put the house in her name and give her all of the financial responsibility. So her dad was reluctant, but he gave her the house. He put the house in her name and gave her financial responsibility to pay the bills and everything else. So Bhavani and Kahcee were there one night, and they were in the middle of passion, if you will. Bhavani forgot to get the garage opener from her dad, and she kept the garage door unlocked. So he was coming by to bring her some food, because he hadn't seen her in a while, and he just decided he was going to show up. So instead of knocking on the door, he just lets the garage up. He doesn't think anything of it, and he comes through the garage door, and he catches Bhavani and Kahcee in passion. He drops the garage remote, and he's screaming. He's screaming at them.
"What are you doing? Oh my God, you're going to hell."
And he's just calling them all kinds of names, and Bhavani is just crying, and Kahcee is just like, oh my gosh, they're mortified that they've been caught. So Bhavani's dad leaves, and he leaves the house infuriated. He's enraged, he's so angry. Bhavani and Kahcee both put on their clothes. Well, Bhavani's dad is so angry. He goes home to his wife, and he tells her what he's seen. And he's so angry, and he says,
"I'm gonna go back over there. I'm gonna teach her a lesson. No daughter of mine is gonna be like that. No daughter of mine is gonna be gay."
His wife gets in the car with him, and she's trying to calm him down. She's like, "Oh my gosh, let's talk about this. His wife did not realize that he had a gas can in the back seat and a match. Kahcee tells Bhavani, hey, we probably need to leave. We need to leave. Bhavani's like, no, let's not leave. Let's talk to my dad when he gets here. Kahcee has a very strong gut feeling and she says, no, Bhavani, we need to leave. We need to leave now. Bhavani and Kahcee leave. And right as they were turning down the street to leave their neighborhood, Bhavani's dad pulls up into the driveway. He's angry, he's shouting. His wife is trying to tell him to calm down. She's pulling on his arm and he's yanked away from her. He goes into the house. His plan was to grab Bhavani and drag her out of the house. And he was going to restrain Kahcee. But when he walks in the house, Bhavani and Kahcee are not there. This infuriates him even more. So he throws gasoline on the house and he proceeds to set it on fire. At this point, when Bhavani's mom saw the flames, she ran next door. She ran across the street first to a neighbor. They didn't answer, and so she ran into the house that was diagonal from Bhavani's house. And that neighbor answers the door. She barely makes it inside by the time Bhavani's dad gets to the house. And so Bhavani's mom is telling the neighbor what's going on. The neighbor calls the police. Bhavani's dad is banging on the door. They wouldn't let him in, so he proceeds to set the neighbor's house on fire. The neighbor had already called the police, and when Bhavani's dad set the neighbor's house on fire, he ran. He ran and got in his car before the police got there and the firemen. So they tried to locate Bhavani's dad. They cannot find him anywhere at all. So they reach out to Bhavani and Kahcee and tell them, where are you guys? So Bhavani and Kahcee are scared. They don't know where to go. They don't know where their dad. Bhavani doesn't know where her dad is. They couldn't find Bhavani's dad for 3 days. Well, Bhavani was at the country club's owner's house. The country club owner had no idea what was going on. The country club owner, he was like in his 70s. And so he was out of touch. Like, he didn't social media, he didn't have Wi-Fi. He still had a house phone. And so Bhavani's dad is just telling him, hey, that he needs to get away. The country club owner and Bhavani's dad have been friends for years. So he thinks nothing of it. He's like, sure, you can stay here all you want. By this time, it was on the news about Bhavani's dad all over town. The country club's owner's daughter calls him and she says, what did you hear about Bhavani's dad? And she was like, and the country club owner tells her he's here. She was like, oh my God, I'm gonna call 911. So she tells him what happens. Bhavani's dad just happened to be standing in the corner and he says,
What was that about?
Oh, and the country club owner, he played it off, oh, that was my daughter. She always calls to check on me every day. So Bhavani's dad is a little suspicious, but he lets it go because country club owner is, is his friend. Was just being really, really, really suspicious. He just did not know how to keep a straight face. He did not know how to keep a straight face with all of the information he had just learned. So he started to act really fidgety as he was waiting for the police to come. He's like, hey, you want a sandwich? And Bhavani's dad is like, we just ate. So Bhavani's dad is looking at him like, oh, the country club owner, he goes on about his business and, just reading the newspaper. And Bhavani's dad has a suspicious feeling. So when the country club owner was reading the newspaper, he hits the country club owner in the back of the head with a golf club. And this knocks the poor old man out. And as Bhavani's dad was getting ready to leave to run out the door, cops just happened to be in the driveway. Perfect timing, no doubt. Take him in for questioning, and instead of denying, he admits it. He said,
no daughter of mine is gonna be gay. She's going to hell. This goes against everything we believe.
He's just infuriated.
And if I see her again, I will choke her. I will kill her.
He snaps completely. So they take him into custody. I see Bhavani goes to visit her dad in jail because she can't believe that her dad would do something so horrible. She couldn't believe her dad would be an attempted murderer. She can't believe her dad would do such a thing. So her dad tells her, calls her a whore. He calls her every horrible name that you could call anyone, especially your daughter. So they take him in. They charge him with attempted murder, charge him with arson, they charge him with premeditated murder. So if he's convicted of all of those charges, he would face 75 years in jail. He was already 60. So he would spend the rest of his life in jail. And get this, they were also trying to charge Bhavani's mom with premeditated murder and also aiding and abetting when her mom really had nothing to do with it. So they charged her mom 5 years, which I don't think is fair based on the story. So whatever, they let her Bhavani's mom out, for 6 months later for good behavior. And so that, thank goodness, that sucks that she had to even spend 6 months there anyway. So Bhavani and Kahcee, they finally were able to live in their truth. Bhavani's dad eventually died of a heart attack 10 years after his sentence. And as I mentioned earlier in the story, Bhavani's dad was a doctor, so he had a lot of money, and his family also had a lot of money. He was attempting to not leave any money to Bhavani because she was a quote-unquote disgrace to their family. He was the best dad in the world, wasn't he? But he couldn't do it because Bhavani's mom, once Bhavani's dad went to jail, her mom was over all of the money. So Bhavani and Kahcee were able to finally walk in their truth and be together. That's a really, really sad story. Her dad got what he deserved. Bhavani and Kahcee are living in their truth, and they are able to be themselves freely. And I feel so sorry for the kids or the children who have parents that are that unaccepting to the point where they would try to kill them because they don't like what they do. As a parent, you're never going to 100% like everything your child does, but that is not the way to go about it. You don't have to agree with anything that they do, but you don't try to murder them because you don't like it. So that story really sucks. And I say it's based on a true story because I feel like I've heard that story or similar stories like that all the time. Maybe not that extreme, but I feel like I've definitely heard stories like that. And if you are in a situation where you have parents like that, I'm so sorry. And I hope you find peace, and I hope you find happiness, and I hope you find freedom. I will see you next week, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.